And a 7-year-old girl is dead in Detroit after a police raid.
Tonight, a man shot and killed by a Lake County deputy in a moment of chaos.
Instead of nabbing crooks, a SWAT team raid in Pierce County terrified an elderly woman and her bedridden daughter.
Also, police shoot and kill a man on his own property.
Tonight, a man shot and killed by a Lake County deputy in a moment of chaos. New tonight, we've learned that deputies did not identify themselves before shooting and killing a man inside his own home.
The sheriff's office now says that they did not announce who they were when they were knocking on that man's door because they say they were looking for a very dangerous man and they did not want to scare him off.
They're like, one, pow, 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 pow.
Many in Blueberry Hill Apartments awoke at 1:30 a.m. to gunshots.
I was in bed and heard about 7 or 8 gunshots. Got up, looked out the window. By that time, you heard a woman screaming.
The girlfriend of 26-year-old Andrew Scott, say neighbors. Lake County deputies knocked on Scott's door looking for the suspect in an attempted murder. Deputies say they did not identify themselves before Scott opened the door. He already had a gun pointing it at deputies. They pulled the trigger immediately, shooting and killing Scott right inside the door of his own apartment. But it wasn't until more than an hour and a half later that Lake County deputies realized he was not the person they were looking for. The man they were looking for was actually in this building right next door.
I feel sorry for the guy, right?
Yeah. He was good people. He was a nice guy. He was a very nice guy.
And deputies say Scott did have drugs inside his apartment and he's been arrested on drug charges in the past.
A wild story out of Florida now. A 59-year-old nurse handcuffed by police for pulling her gun out on a group of armed men she thought were intruders, but who turned out to be members of a SWAT team looking for a child rapist mistakenly raiding the wrong apartment. Trace Gallagher's live in Los Angeles. Wow, this escalated quickly, Trace.
Well, did it ever, Shannon? Louise Goldsberry was actually just finishing up her shift as a surgical nurse. She was home with her boyfriend at the apartment, and she was looking outside her window and saw a man with a gun. He also had a flak jacket and a light shining in the window. She dropped to the floor, told her boyfriend to do the same, and then crawled to get a .38 revolver. The man outside was yelling they were police and to open the effing door. She didn't believe they were cops, but the door was already unlocked. Listen.
I see the door open, so I took aim. It's the only thing I know to do, and I see this bright white light and a barrel of a gun. I don't see a person. And he says, please.
So she took aim, the cop took aim, they're both pointing guns at each other. The boyfriend's laying on the floor and he thinks somebody's about to get shot. Here's Louise again, listen.
It was really scary because, you know, he said, if you don't put your gun down, I am going to kill you. Yeah, he did.
Finally, the boyfriend said they should give up, and they did. The couple was cuffed and questioned when police realized they had nothing at all to do with the child rapist. That's when police left. But later police said the woman knew it was the police, and she's lucky she didn't get shot. The officer was reminded that he didn't have a warrant, had the wrong apartment, and that he dropped a series of F words. Listen again.
His comment was they're federal marshals, and they can basically do what they want.
Police shoot and kill a man on his own property. So it all started with a false alarm, and soon after that, this 72-year-old man was dead.
Doug, those close to the family tell me the 72-year-old woke up in the middle of the night. He heard his neighbor's alarm and wanted to check it out. So he came outside from the back of his house, coming down this driveway, but he didn't even make it across the street. He was shot and killed right here on his own property.
He was, he was doing what neighbors do. He was probably checking on the neighbor that the alarm went off.
But Jerry Waller never got to check on his neighbor. Police responding to a burglary call shot and killed him in his own driveway. Investigators say he was armed.
We heard 5 shots.
Becky Haskin, a former Fort Worth City Council member, lives nearby.
They were just rapid fire, one right after another.
She says what's heartbreaking is that it was a false alarm. The alarm across the street from Waller's had gone off on accident.
Officers felt threatened by the man with the handgun, and he was shot.
A 21-year-old by the name of Chavis Carter was the passenger of a pickup truck during a routine traffic stop in Arkansas. And the police officer who stopped them found that he had drugs. So as a result, this is protocol, they handcuffed him and put him in the back of the patrol car. But what happens next? Let's watch.
As protocol, he was handcuffed behind his back, double locked, and searched.
Handcuffed, double locked, and searched. But somehow, minutes later, police say they heard a thumping noise, turned around, and found Chavez dead, shot in the head in the back of the squad car.
Any given officer has missed something on a search, be it drugs, be it knives, be it razor blades. This instance happened to be a gun.
Look, I searched for what could have possibly happened.
Right.
And maybe, and by the way, they searched him twice. Maybe they missed the gun. That's certainly possible, right? And then maybe he got it out of his pocket and was trying to shoot the handcuffs off when he shot himself in the head.
That's a possibility.
So, okay, but we're really stretching to help the cops there, because according to his mother, the cops told her he was shot in the right temple. Now, I can see being shot in the back of the head. I don't see it being a suicide. That makes no sense. And we already have a report that he had called his girlfriend and said, "I'll see you at the jail." They had no reason to believe that he was despondent, depressed, anything like that. The drugs that he was caught with were marijuana. It's the incredibly minor infraction.
I think they killed him. I mean, my son was suicidal.
In fact, she says he called his girlfriend while pulled over to say he would call her shortly from jail. Even more, the mother says she was told her son was shot in the right temple when she says he was left-handed. She says it just doesn't add up.
They searched him twice. I mean, I just want to know what really happened. That's all I want to know.
I want to add one more thing here. This is part of our casualties in the war on drugs. Why did this whole thing start in the first place? Because he had marijuana on him.
Instead of nabbing crooks, a SWAT team raid in Pierce County terrified an elderly woman and her bedridden daughter. 78-year-old Marlene Stivers tells us the deputies smashed out her window, jolting her out of bed. She says they pointed rifles at her head and threatened to shoot if she moved. At some point, the SWAT team realized it had the wrong house.
I've just been so upset. I mean, my high blood pressure, and I can't do what I used to do because I'm so worked up from everything. I'm so scared they're going to come back again.
The sheriff's department apologized and paid for the broken window.
And a 7-year-old girl is dead in Detroit after a police raid. Is very wrong. Ayana Jones was shot in the neck by an officer's gun as police entered her family's apartment looking for a murder suspect.
She's 7. All will be revealed, Father God. She's 7.
Martilla Jones saw her granddaughter shot and killed yesterday after what police are calling a confrontation between Ms. Jones and officers looking for her relative, a murder suspect. A flashbang, a non-lethal grenade used to create shock and confusion, was tossed into the house on Lilyfield on the city's east side before the raid. Once inside, police say Mrs. Jones challenged an officer. His gun discharged, striking 7-year-old Ayana in the neck. She had been sleeping on a nearby sofa.
Our deepest and most heartfelt condolences go out to the family.
She was asleep, and they came through the door shooting, throwing flash grenades.
At the wrong house.
At the wrong house.
At the wrong house.
Burned my baby up and shot her, killed her.
Kick that door in and kill a baby. I don't understand that.
She was murdered by those who are sworn to protect and serve us.
In Rockland County, New York, Drug Enforcement Administration agents raided the wrong home at 5:30 in the morning, and with guns drawn, they pulled homeowner David McKay's 8-year-old daughter out of bed at gunpoint and dragged Mr. McKay outside in his underwear before realizing their mistake. Mr. McKay's daughter vomited and had an asthma attack. It's sickening that in an impossible effort to prevent drug use, the DEA literally terrorized a family because it can't use a map correctly. And in what is becoming almost a daily occurrence these days, police in Ogden, Utah, shot and killed a 45-year-old drug addict named Todd Blair in his own home. The police were serving a warrant and stormed Mr. Blair's home with guns drawn when they encountered Mr. Blair standing there holding a golf club. Their immediate response was to shoot Mr. Blair 3 times, killing him instantly. America, how many 8-year-old girls need to be yanked out of bed at gunpoint in the middle of the night? How many people, innocent until proven guilty, need to be murdered by police in their homes? How many police brutality stories will it take for us to realize that the war on drugs is far more brutal than drug use itself. The government is supposed to protect us and uphold our rights, not terrorize us.